Hi there, welcome back to the channel. So in the last episode, we visited an old friend, White Zinfandel, but now we're ready to move on, throw off the shackles of the past, and see what the potential is for the future. Ready to drink better wine. Why are you still here? If you haven't seen it yet, give my short a watch. It's called A Fool's Guide to Wine Drinking. It's a quick, funny watch, less than a minute, where I kind of explain what I believe to be the levels of wine drinking. It'll let you know what I'm talking about in terms of levels going forward. All right, so let's take that first step in a new direction. We're not going to go crazy here. We were at level 0 in the last episode. We're not going to go to level 3. We're not ready yet. So let's get into level 1. Let's ease into it. And there's maybe even something in this episode for those level 2s out there, those early level 2s. Sauvignon Blanc. To this day, my wife will never let me forget the time I turned to the waitress in the restaurant and proceeded to order Sauvignon Blanc, knowing full well how it's pronounced. It just came out that way. Grape originally found in southwest France, this variety is now known throughout the world, grown in every climate you can imagine. This is one of my favorite grape varieties, or varietal, as the pros will say. I love this, especially during the summer. It's just a great, refreshing kind of wine. Lower sweetness, higher acidity, especially compared with White Zinfandel. This particular bottle comes from New Zealand. The Branca estate. I believe I paid about $12.99 for this, and you can probably find something similar in your local wine shop. 12.5% ABV, alcohol by volume. So let's give it a shot. Let's give it a taste. The pros will say there's a certain way to taste a wine, and it may seem funny, but each step has a purpose. I'm getting notes right off of this, which is not always typical of every wine. Sometimes you open a wine and you're not going to get anything. You're not going to smell anything. This one, I'm getting a lot of fruit right off the bat. So let's go through the process. We're going to look at it and we're going to see what kind of color it is. This is like a light straw. And even though my walls are green, I think maybe that it's picking up some of that. But that could also be just the paint on my walls. And that's not necessarily a bad thing either if it was tinged with green. Looking at the color can do several things. It can help identify the wine if you don't know what you're drinking. It can also identify imperfections or what are called faults. Oxidation is one that could be identified through a visual. In an aged wine, you might also see some sediment. Newer wines, anything in the last few years, you're not really going to get any sediment in a bottle. You shouldn't, hopefully. So next step, we're going to give it a little swirl. Wine's been pent up in a bottle. We want to get it some air, give it some room to breathe. This is especially important for reds, not so much whites, but reds, which often have the tannins can get released a little bit, make it a little less harsh on the palate. Now, I already said how much I was getting from a smell off of this wine as soon as I opened it up. Melon, like right off the bat. Grapefruit, just that hint. It doesn't smell like a grapefruit. It's that familiarity of a smell. My nose is still very foolish and untrained, but I try. It's time to taste. And I can hear my level 0s and 1s going, wait, we had to wait that long to taste the wine.
We're in a terrible rush.
Don't rush me, Sonny. You rush a miracle, man, you get rotten miracles.
No, technically not. But we're here to learn something. When you're trying a new wine, you're trying to develop these habits that will allow you to drink better and better wine. Helps you to understand what you like and why you like it, why maybe you don't like it. So let's give it a try. Ooh, crisp, high acidity, some real sharpness, really crisp, really pleasant. Grapefruit, melon again on the palate. Really nice, like ripe fruit. Yeah, delicious. So just a last note on this one. Remember our video on characteristics. That acidity, that initial sip, my mouth watered a lot. Really high level, but balanced out everything else. Really makes for a nice sip. Riesling. So now we have a Riesling. Riesling comes from the Rhine region of Germany. Rieslings can vary in sweetness and are considered what's called terroir expressive. And that simply means that it's greatly, the grapes are greatly affected by the environment in which they're grown. Today I've selected a dry Riesling. I'm not a huge fan of sweet wines, so that's why I kind of lean towards this way. And this is from a label that I'm very familiar with, Chateau Ste. Michelle from Washington State. And this was about $10 for the bottle, I believe. So this is Columbia Valley in Washington State. And even on the back, so this is one of the labels that frequently marks on the back of the label the dryness and the sweetness. This is marked dry, and they have medium dry, medium sweet, and sweet all marked on the back of the label. So this one gives you a little bit more than your typical bottle. And this is Old Guy in Effect, 13% alcohol by volume. Let's give it an open. I have 2 screw-offs and a cork. I just used the end of the corkscrew to get the foil off. I'm probably breaking some cardinal rule, but I don't really care. And I used my little happy man. Yay, wine time. Yay. That's a fun sound. That means happiness is shortly around the corner. That's a fun sound too. That one I didn't have to digitally put in. These particular white wine grapes that we're tasting tonight, they're not afraid to express themselves. There's a lot of fruit coming in off the nose. Off the nose. On the nose. Through the nose. About the nose. Around the nose. There's like a sweet citrus to it, a little bit of lemon rind. Let's give it a taste. Ooh, all right. So real crisp, a little bit more so than the Sauvignon Blanc, a little bit more body. We talked about, mouthfeel and lasting, lasting qualities in terms of body. Sticks around on the tongue a little bit more, hangs out in the mouth. There's just more of a, that's going to go down easy. This is still going to go down easy. Gives you a little bit more to think about. And anytime you see a wine geek sloshing it around their mouth and sucking in, it's trying to do the same thing that like a decanter does. It's trying to get the wine across the palate as much as possible, trying to really coat the mouth, get all of the flavors. Your tongue has different taste sensors depending on where the flavor's landing on the tongue. So, and this acidity's really kicking in, making my mouth water. And that's all anybody's trying to do. It seems a little gross. You hang out with enough wine people and it starts to feel normal, which...
The only normal one is Jack, and he's not even toilet trained.
I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Chenin Blanc. Lastly, this one might be for my early level 2 drinkers or my more adventurous level 1 drinkers, if only because it's not one of the more well-known grape varieties. It's probably not something that people are just rattling off the top of their head. Here we have a Chenin Blanc. Originally from the Loire region of France, this is another grape variety that's been grown successfully around the world. This particular one is from South Africa, a label called Lingrove Collection. And this is another one that's 12.5% by volume. Screw off caps. So easy. So a little bit, right off the bat, a little bit more yellow compared to the Riesling and the Sauvignon Blanc. Just a little bit more color to it. Not as much aromatic that I had from the other two. As soon as I opened those other two, I was getting very strong aromatics.
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Those, I opened up the bottle, I poured it, I got notes right out of the bottle. This one's a little bit more, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe, now I'm starting to get it. Still not as strong as those other two. Apple, like tropical, little grass maybe. A little bit of, this is gonna sound weird, a little bit of rubber. And not in a bad way. But yeah, like rubber ball. That's where my brain went.
You're a genius.
All right, let's give it a taste. Ooh, okay. Ooh. Again, a little bit more body to this one. Interesting. Definitely level 2, a little bit more intense flavor-wise. A little bit more... This acid level's not as high as our Riesling was, but good crisp, still crisp, like good flavor, like appley type of flavor, pineapple, a little bit edge of pineapple. Definitely not tasting that rubber that I smelled, because that would be a bad thing. Yeah, lower acid levels, which really allows you to, sometimes it's hard to cut, like the acid levels can be so high that you can't pay any attention to anything but the acid levels, because it's like, whoa, so like powerful. So this is allowing more of that fruit to sort of come through on the palate, gives you mouth time to like really think about it. So there we have it. 3 really nice varieties available anywhere you go, and whether or not you're getting these specific labels or not necessarily important. 3 really nice options though, and you can get all 3 of these bottles for a total of less than $40, which is awesome. I hope this inspires you to be a little bit more foolish the next time you go shopping for wine. Till next time, stay foolish, and cheers to drinking better wine.